All right, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. So, lots of stuff to get into today. I welcome in. It's nice to see everybody here. Wednesday night. Good to see everybody here. And I just want to get out some news in the Kylee Monteiro story. Very, very tragic, out of Rehoboth, Massachusetts. We're going to get into a couple stories today, but I'm going to timeline all of this for you, leading right up to the arraignment today of one Gregory Groom. So let's do this first. I just saw this come over just before I got online. Judge Caprio, if you're not familiar with him, he's famous for the TV show Caught in Providence, has passed away. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So according, let's see, nicest judge in the world, Frank Caprio, dies after cancer reoccurrence. So I know last year was battling pancreatic cancer. It looked like he went to a clinic down in Florida, was getting treatment down there, and it looked like he was on the mend and battling back and doing well, according to his social media post. I've been following his page for quite a while. And so today he did pass away. I shared a video that he had made earlier this morning, just asking to keep people in his prayers. So let's just read this from Boston 10. Nicest judge in the world, Frank Caprio, dies after cancer reoccurrence. In a quote, in his honor, we each strive to bring a little more compassion into the world, just as we did every day. A post announcing Caprio's death on Wednesday. So beloved Rhode Island judge Frank Caprio has died after a cancer diagnosis, according to his post in his popular social media pages. Relatives confirmed his death to the NBC affiliate WJAR on Wednesday, a day after he asked followers from his hospital bed for prayers. It's a quote, and I shared this video earlier, said, unfortunately, I've had a setback. I'm back in the hospital now, and I'm coming back to you again, asking you to remember me in your prayers, Caprio said, referring to a previous bout with pancreatic cancer. Governor Dan McKee ordered the Rhode Island flags to fly at half-staff through the day of his interment, calling Caprio a treasure and connecting with people as a symbol of empathy on the bench, showing us what is possible when justice is tampered with humanity. Caprio earned the nickname the nicest judge in the world for all his years of the Emmy-nominated show Caught in Providence. I'm sure everybody here has watched that. Such a great show. And his presence on social media, where he had millions of followers. He would be remembered, and not as a respected judge, but as a devoted husband, father, and grandfather, great-grandfather, and friend. His legacy lives on in the countless acts of kindness he inspired. The post announcing his death read, in his honor, we may each strive to bring a little more compassion into the world, just as he did every day. So really, really sad. Judge Frank Caprio has passed away. All right, let's get into the Kylee Monteiro story. So this started back on August 6th, and it started kind of hitting my algorithm around the 13th or 14th. I was following it, and then I saw a post from her sister, Faith, and had a phone number on it. So I actually ended up texting her and said, hey, I know that, you're looking for your sister. I've been reading about the story. If you wanted to come on my show and speak, I have a platform. So if you want to come up and just tell us about, Kylie's story, or, where the searches have been going on, please. And I get it, they're going through very turbulent time at that time, but she stayed in touch with me throughout and just basically said, we're going to have this vigil that's planned on Saturday. And they still are going to have that, barring the awful circumstances that we found out. So let's just timeline a little bit this for everybody. So what I could gather, August 6th, 2025, Kylee Monteiro and her boyfriend, Gregory Groom, 22, she's 18 years old and pregnant, had an argument at his home on County Street in Rehoboth. According to the prosecutors, Groom allegedly threw her to the ground, pulling her hair and strangling her during an argument. Kylee managed to text her sister, and this is horrifying. He threw me to the ground and pulled my hair and strangled me. My phone is on 4%, and if I die, it was Greg. August 7, 2025. This was the last confirmed sighting of Kylee near County Street in Rehoboth. She reportedly had taken a rideshare from a residential program and went to Groom's property to possibly stay with him, but never returned. She ceased all communication, both in person and across her normally active social media accounts. And that's a lot of the reports that I read, that she was very active on her account. So it was very strange when everything went silent. Her friends and family became increasingly alarmed. And then you have August 8th, 2025, Groom reported Kylee missing to the Rehoboth Police Department, claiming that she had left after an argument and walked away. This is Kylie's official missing persons report. Her family concern deepened, especially due to her sudden silence on social media platforms and ghosting of texts and calls. August 8th through August 19th, an extensive search took place, nearly 2 weeks, involving canine units, helicopters, drones, ATVs, divers across the woods and bodies of water. Civilian volunteers also joined in the efforts. The investigators conducted searches of Groom's 25-acre property, initially finding nothing of significance. And you're going to hear how Groom basically hid the spot that Kylee was found. In a subsequent interview, and this is August 19th through the 20th, under pressure, Groom admitted the August 6th altercation and revealed that he had stabbed Kylee multiple times, twice in the neck, once in the chest, and breaking the knife blade behind the shed on the behind the shed on his property. He then drew a rudimentary map leading to where he buried her body, approximately 20 yards away. Investigators executed a search warrant on Groom's property. They discovered a 5-foot deep grave concealed with brush and recent tree cuttings. Human remains consistent with Kylee were found. Groom was arrested on charges including murder, aggravated assault and battery on a pregnant person, domestic violence and battery, and witness intimidation. He was held without bail and pled not guilty at the arraignment. Excuse me. The medical examiner is waiting to confirm from an autopsy to the official identity of the remains. So now it takes us to today, August 20th, 2025. In court, prosecutors emphasized Kylie's anonymous text, "If I die, it was Greg." District Attorney Thomas Quinn announced the findings from the property, supported by Groom's confession, and discovered remains strongly point, to a homicide. A vigil is being organized by the Monteiro family, by the community to honor Kylee on Saturday, August 25th at 7 p.m. at Veterans Memorial Gazebo on 401 Winthrop Street in Rehoboth. All right, let's now go back to a couple of days ago. It was a great segment on Law and Crime Network. We'll play through that, and then we'll play it all the way up to kind of how this unfolded up to our current our current day. All right, let me do this. I'm going to boost the sound a little bit. Again, thank you all for being here. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Here we go.
A pregnant teenager is missing right now in Massachusetts, and there are a lot of theories swirling right now about what may have happened to her. We're going to cut through the noise to bring you the very latest that we know, and we are going to be speaking with a missing persons investigator about what is happening behind the scenes, what we can expect, what happens next. Welcome.
Holly, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate it.
Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. We have a really distressing story that's happening out east right now. It has been more than a week since 18-year-old Kylee Monteiro was last seen or heard from. Police are using dogs, drones all across Rehoboth, Massachusetts to try to find her, even bringing in a dive team to search.
Again, if you're just wondering like what this is for Law and Crime Network about 4 or 5 days ago. So we'll play through and then take us all the way up to current day as this all unfolded. Here we go.
A local reservoir. And here's the thing, we're not just talking about a missing teenager. There is growing concern that Kylee, who is around 3 months pregnant, according reportedly to her family, might have met with foul play. And one of the last messages she apparently sent is contributing to the fear that something is really wrong. So first of all, this is one of those cases where you out there can help. If you see something, say something, report it. I'm going to describe Kylee Monteiro to you. She is described as being 6 feet tall, brown hair, brown eyes. According to the Rehoboth police, she was last seen on August 7th wearing a red t-shirt that said "Get Over It" on the front, wearing ripped blue jeans, tan boots. She was spotted near County Street in Rehoboth. That's about 50 miles from Boston. She recently graduated from Attleboro High School, shared several photos and videos of herself in a purple cap, gown, showing off her diploma. She also posted photos of herself all glammed up for prom. And some of those pictures apparently featured her boyfriend and potentially the father of her unborn child. You go on social media.
Yeah, what I'm going to tell you also is Steve Fisher is a private investigator. He's going to be featured in the show, and he's actually been on my channel a few times talking about the Chelsea Grim case, and still a very an unsolved case, which is really sad. And then you can go watch that on my channel. A young girl that went missing out in Arizona almost about 2 years ago now. Okay, let's keep playing on here.
Yeah, and it indicates that his name appears to be Greg Groom. He reportedly lives near Warren Upper Reservoir in Rehoboth, according to Boston 25. And her family says her last known location was at her boyfriend's house. It's believed that Kylee was picking up some of her belongings from his house when she went missing. Now, to be clear, he has not been named a person of interest or suspect in this case, but we'll talk a little bit more about him later on. I will say family members told local Massachusetts outlets ABC6 and WCVB that Kylee had been living at a homeless shelter for pregnant women in Pembroke, Massachusetts, that she and her boyfriend were reportedly in this off-on relationship, that there had been reports of domestic issues. This is according to a post by her sister, Kitty, on Facebook, that the night before she disappeared, there was allegedly some sort of argument or altercation, although the details on that haven't really been provided at this point. A friend told WCVB that the last time she heard from Kylee, the teen said something was off. Quote, she was like, "I don't feel safe right now. Something's not right. I tried talking with her after that, and she just stopped responding to me after that. I just want her to know that, like, we miss you, and we're not going to stop trying to find you." Kylee also reportedly called several family members, friends after that argument. You have another sister, Faith Monteiro, says that she offered to pick Kylee up, according to reporting from the Daily Mail, but Kylee seemingly declined. Faith told ABC6, "It's been very difficult. We're very scared. We hope she's okay. This is not like her at all. She would never just disappear.
Wow.
The circumstances don't seem good. It's a lot of speculation. We really don't know what happened." And according to Kylie's social media posts, her childhood wasn't easy. Both of her parents are dead. She recently lost a beloved uncle. She has also posted about bullying that she endured at school. Faith told ABC6 that her sister likely doesn't have enough life experience to survive on her own. So while our thoughts and our prayers are going to the family right now, and we're trying to put her name out there and her image out there for anybody who has information, now I want to get some different perspective. By the way, I know many of you might be true crime fans out there, but is anyone also in a business?
Gonna bump up past the commercial. Here we go. It's just so tragic. I mean, all around. I mean, you have a young lady, a young baby that's now lost its lives. And, you know, you look at this Gregory Groom, I mean, 22 years old. That's it. He's just wasted his life for the rest of his life. He'll most likely be in prison the rest of his life. You know, so everybody loses. And the community loses. Her family loses. I mean, it's just awful. Her friends. It's really terrible. All right, let's hear from Steve Fisher. And again, Steve Fisher's been on my show before. Great guy, and private investigator. And here we go.
To come home, but there are a lot of indications that something could be seriously wrong here. So to talk about what goes into searches for endangered people, I want to bring in a special guest. I want to bring on an expert in this area, Steve Fisher, who is a missing persons private investigator. Steve, thank you so much for coming on. Now, to be clear, you haven't been involved in the search for Kylee, but I got to get your opinion on this. I got to get your gut reaction
Talk about Chelsea
when you're hearing about this story. What are some of the things that stand out to you?
Well, 18 years old, pregnant, and a boyfriend that she apparently had some sort of physical confrontation on the 6th. And who has, been silent so far. And her own family and friends have expressed that their fear that they have that there could be foul play involved here.
I got to put that aside for a second to ask the question. It sticks out to me. I mentioned this before. There is this concern that she doesn't have survival instincts, that she's so young that if she walked off on her own, she wouldn't know how to take care of herself. Have you dealt with cases like that before where it's not an instance of foul play, but somebody walks off and, the tragedy of being on their own, something happens?
Absolutely. We see it with mental health cases. We see it with autism, Alzheimer's, things like that. And this could just be a scared teenager that had some sort of confrontation. If she doesn't have those survival instincts, then she's going to go into this hyper fear mode because now she's caring for her unborn baby as well. And the environment around there, if she's not familiar with it, once you get in those woods, it can get really disorienting. If she, for some reason, went there or was trying to get out of the area and thought she was taking some path, through the woods or shortcut or something.
And just to be clear, I mean, we have so little information. We're trying to piece together what exactly is going on here. You got to also wonder, young woman by herself, pregnant, it's a vulnerable target, right? Not of somebody who even would know her, but just in general, generally speaking, and I'm not speculating about the year. Unfortunately, in the society we live in, she's on by herself out there. That could be a problem.
Yeah. Absolutely, because if she doesn't have those survival instincts, then she's probably very willing to ask for or accept help, and you don't know who that person may be, and like you said, she's alone and she's vulnerable. There's a lot of options of what could be going on here, and days go on. The hopeful options, the lost or scared and just hiding out or just going off the grid for a few days, unfortunately those odds are diminishing.
This idea of maybe she's out there, she's fine, not uncomfortable to come forward. Have you seen a case like that before, where after all this press and whatever was going on in her life right beforehand, that would be the best scenario, right? She's fine. She's just scared to come forward, uncomfortable to come forward. I hope that's what's going on. But have you seen a case like that?
I actually have seen it. What happens is these people go missing or in don't consider themselves missing, and then also it turns into a huge case. And we saw that in actually the case when the girl was flying from Hawaii to New York and stopped at LAX and kind of went off and did her own thing, and it turned into this nationwide search. And she didn't even know what was going on. And so it can be a situation like that where she could just be scared and be like, how do I unring this bell? How do I explain this? So that does happen. However, now getting into 8 days, getting a little outside of that time frame.
Yeah, I hear you. But let's say this is the situation. What should be communicated to Kylee if she's watching anything, seeing anything? What are the avenues for her to come forward? And again, I hope that's what the scenario is. What should be communicated to her to feel safe to come forward?
Listen, if you're Kylee, you've done absolutely nothing wrong. People are just very concerned and looking for you, and these people love you, and there's a search going on, but you're not in any trouble. They're not looking for you because you're in any trouble. They're looking for you just for your own safety. So just reach out to any friend, reach out to law enforcement, reach out to, literally.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You might be afraid to reach out to a friend or a family member. You might be afraid to reach out to a friend to a family member. Reach out to an authority figure. You can always go there. Call a hotline. Call anybody. But a lot of people often, when they're in this type of situation, they're afraid, so they may, go into hiding.
Anybody, and just explain that you need to get in touch with law enforcement. They will be very, very understanding. I can promise you, there's not going to be any negative blowback.
Got to talk about this boyfriend. On again, off again, reported boyfriend. To be clear, has not been named as any sort of person of interest by police or a suspect. But of course, it's pretty standard operating procedure to look at the person, the partner, the significant other when a person goes missing. What do you think investigators are doing behind the scenes? What are they talking about? What are they looking into?
I think that they're probably have this really delicate balance right now going on of wanting to speak with him, and without him shutting down completely and requesting a lawyer. So they kind of got to play both sides, like they're, the good cop, bad cop, basically. You kind of play the middle to where you get the information from him. He's not so comfortable that he's comfortable lying to you, but also you don't put enough pressure on him to where he invokes his Miranda rights either. So it's kind of keep him in the middle and hopefully that he's giving you some information, and you probably have to be patient with him and hope he trips up on a few things because once they lay into him, he'll probably lawyer up.
Are they looking to corroborate the statements? Are they looking at Google search history? Are they looking at text messages? Are they speaking with friends and family? I mean, what are the limitations? What are they able to do at this point to get a complete picture?
Consistent basis, they can get that cell phone data as long as they follow up with the warrant after they get it within 72 hours or so. So I'm sure that on an exigent basis, they have gotten cell data, including location information, probably social media. She appears to be very active on a couple of the social media apps. So probably messaging through there. Any vehicles that he had access to, they probably get a warrant for him. If it has systems like OnStar, anything like that, they'll probably see that drive history. They're going to want to know his movements as well as hers, but both their movements on a GPS basis as, for that 24, 48-hour window. And so I'm sure that they have that data. I'm sure state police and probably being assisted by FBI and others are probably analyzing that.
And by the way, I imagine for investigators, it could be tough when somebody goes missing. You might have family and friends who already jump to conclusions. And I'm not saying that's happening in this case, but something to think about. The information that those closest to the person who's missing, it's invaluable, it's important, but investigators also can't just take it as true, right? They have to corroborate that evidence as well. Does that complicate an investigation when you're dealing with emotions and you're dealing with close family and friends? And maybe I just was the other day, I was talking about all the online chatter about whether or not there's a New England serial killer.
Yeah, that's been a big thing around here too, and I've been posting a couple of posts about that. Yeah, Jen McCabe's too said they found her body in his yard. He's admitted to killing her. Yeah, he was arraigned this morning. We're basically just walking back. I had a timeline here just to get everybody caught up. So if they're catching this, on replay or live right now, they don't know what's going on. I wanted to timeline it for everybody and then just go back. I saw this segment on Law and Crime. It was done really well. I know Steve Fisher. I've had him on the show a couple of times, and I wanted to just play what he thought in his expertise and looking in these missing. He does a lot of missing person cases to play through and just talk about, his experience or what his intuition was, what was going on just a few days ago. Then obviously, tragically, we found out Kylee was ultimately murdered and her boyfriend, Gregory Groom, ultimately ended up admitting to that. So we'll play through the rest of this, and then I'm going to play the arraignment, and then I'm going to play the press conference from, Bristol County District Attorney Tom Quinn, and we'll hear his thoughts on this as well. All right, here we go.
The public is incredibly helpful, but you also wonder whether certain comments and speculation online, how does that all affect an investigation?
Yeah, sure. So speculation will start really ramping up, but it does. And those people closest to her are the people that are going to be so important. And also, we've learned that she's living at a shelter for young women that are pregnant or that are homeless. And so there's people there, including probably counselors, that she may be having these conversations with that could have valuable information that they might not even think is that valuable. But there could be these little pieces that could really help investigators tie it all together. And right now, it really is a race. It's about getting that information. You don't have to get super, super detailed, but you need that initial information so you can get searches in the right targeted areas. Because if she's alive, she needs to be found right away. The time frame we're at now.
There has been a lot of agencies involved in this search so far: local, state police, search dogs, divers, drones, helicopters. How have these tools changed when it comes to the searches for missing people? How have they evolved over time? How thorough are these searches?
They're excellent tools. So for the canines, what they could do is they could get a scent article of hers, which they probably get from the shelter she's staying at, and then they can, if they believe that she was at, say, the boyfriend's property, they can track that. They can pick up a scent. They can track it and where it ends, they can, then try to pick up that scent at locations. So, they're great for that. They're not just for actually finding the person, but canines are great for figuring out if they got into vehicles or if they tracked off the property or whatever it may be. And then you got drones, you got thermal drones, because it's wooded areas. Of course,
Steve has done a lot of that droning, using drones. He did a lot of that in Chelsea Grimm's case, and we actually showed when he came on and did my live, and we talked about that. He actually brought on some of his drone grids that he had, and they drop it into a software after all the photos are taken from the drones, and it kind of stitches everything together. And it's amazing the resolution that you can get, like literally zooming in at like 1,000,000 times, and you can literally, see like a pair of car keys on the ground. It's done so well. So it's pretty cool, what those drone photographs can do, and the video that they can do out of those drones now. All right, here we go.
Key people here are going to be like the cell phone analysis teams, which FBI has got amazing people at. Those are going to be the people that are super important.
If they haven't found her, what does that mean?
Well, it's obviously it's not good, and
because you basically described how extensive these search efforts are.
They got divers in the water, but that also kind of shows what their thinking is, because, it seems to be targeted to a pretty certain area, and they do seem to be focused on the water. They have divers in there, and they also have search and rescue members that are wading through waters, probing poles. So it seems to me like they think that likely could be an option, but listen, it's not good here. I don't think right now. Hoping for a miracle, and I think the family understands this because they've expressed that as well, but kind of bracing for the worst. And listen, these people, the state police, local police, search and rescue, these are people that are amazing at what they do, and I really think in the next day or two we're going to have some solid answers. I think that she will be found one way or another.
Do you think that this is going to rely on the public's health, because they're saying anybody with any information, especially, by the way, any surveillance footage of that county street area, they're asked to contact law enforcement. Is that what we're dealing with now? We need the public's help. And how does law enforcement sort through all the tips that come in, or all the information that comes in?
Yeah, so surveillance is going to be really key here. So there's going to be like license plate readers, town safety surveillance systems, but people's individual ring cams or whatever.
I wonder I'd be curious to see that, if anybody came forward with ring footage that might have seen, some kind of interaction the last time that she was seen. What street was she seen on last? Let's see. I had it written down here. County Street in Rehoboth. I wonder if there is cameras out there, or someone caught something and handed it over to the authorities. I wonder if that will be in evidence. Be curious to see. All right, here we go.
Type of nest, whatever they have, people can go and review that. If they can put her in a certain location, then that becomes the new place last seen, which is the most important thing in search and rescue. That's where everything centers around. That's where the command center would move to. So it's going to be very important. There's always so much noise, though, in this, because a lot of, listen, people want to help, and you get a lot of false tips, which is not a bad thing. You don't have to discourage people from sending in legitimate tips, but there's a lot of noise to filter through in these cases. So I guarantee people reviewing surveillance that they've had sent to them. Plus, they have teams out there looking for surveillance. It'd be trail cams, things that might not be traditionally, people think of. There can be, leads there.
So, you mentioned it before. We've been talking about it throughout. She is reportedly around 3 months pregnant. When we talk about that, what impact does that have in terms of the investigation, the search? Because it's not just about Kylee. There's someone else there too.
Yeah, so Massachusetts is a state where if a homicide occurred, a person can be charged for the unborn child in Massachusetts as well. So that's something that, they're looking for 2 people, I think, as far as the law goes. And so if something happened to her, it also happened to the baby. But, it's just as important if she's alive too, because if she is, and she's in some duress situation, then she needs medical assistance, not just for her, but for that baby as well, 11 or 12 weeks old. So it's a big thing, and it's her age, coupled with being very vulnerable, not having the tools to survive on her own, like her family's suggested, and also being pregnant. It's gonna get all the agencies involved.
Terrible.
Let's just talk a little bit more about online and social media. So we checked out Kylie's TikTok account.
Yeah, Michael,
She's
this
been
was
very active.
it's like 4 days ago. Let's see. Yeah, 4 days ago. So it was August 15th, 2025. And this case came on my radar around the 13th or 14th. I was watching it, kind of got into my algorithm on Facebook. I started seeing posts. And then around the 15th, I started posting about it. And and then I eventually got in touch with Kylie's sister, Faith. And she's kept me pretty much up to date as far as what was going. I lent my platform to her. I said, hey, if you want to come on and you have any information that you want to come on my platform and talk about, you're welcome to do that. And she kept me pretty up to date. She said, I got to talk to my family about it. But decided ultimately not to, but kept me up with updates. And then she texted me and basically said, there's going to be a vigil of hope. And obviously now it's really sad that it's going to be just a vigil of prayer for Kylie on Saturday. So we'll finish through this. And thanks for the question. I appreciate that. And we'll keep playing through this here. Here we go.
Several times a day, you mentioned it, but there haven't been any new videos
Yeah,
since
it does,
August
Bonnie,
6th,
you're right.
so the day before her disappearance. And in that video, she apparently posted a photo of herself with the caption, "I don't care what people think about me." Steve, how critical is that? How critical is social
Thank
media
you. Appreciate that.
going to be in the search, the investigation?
Yeah. So, I mean, especially now, as we all know, the younger generation, everything seems to be based around social media. So when a person's presence drops off a cliff on social media, it's a real concern. It's almost an addiction level, and we see it in so many cases where you just know that the person wouldn't have that ability to withhold from the posting. So it's scary. And also they express all their emotions online, and I can't say this 100% certain, but from what I've seen, it looks like the boyfriend has also deleted or privated his social media, so that's concerning as well. It's a big,
I didn't know
it's a big
that.
thing here, and that's something that investigators, I'm absolutely sure, on an exigent basis, have requested to see if there's any DMing going on behind the scenes, to see if there's actually anybody logging into that account, which would show proof that she could be alive, or message history that may have been deleted, which the companies can pull that still. So even though you've deleted messages, there's a certain amount of time they can recover it. So I think that they'll probably have already accessed those accounts.
And by the way, talking about social media, family members, they've posted on social media that anyone interested in helping with the search, they need to make sure that they're part of an official law enforcement-led search party when they're announced. Why is that so important?
Well, so there's kind of two schools of thoughts on this. And in a case where there is a very good chance, and this is one of those, that there's foul play involved, I think this is a situation where the public, as much as they want to help, it's best to lay back because everything's evidence at this point. That's why, when you're seeing the video of the people out searching in the woods and stuff, you're mostly seeing sworn law enforcement officers. You're not seeing the people in the orange, search and rescue gear. That's because everything's being treated. Anything they find will be evidence at this point. And if the public is out there and handling it, then it becomes, defense attorneys are going to go after that. It's going to be exclusionary, and it could create a whole host of problems. So now, in a case where foul play is not suspected, after about a week, I think it's good for the public to get in and help with the search. More eyeballs, the better, because it's a race against the clock for the person's life. But in this, the odds are so heavily in favor of foul play that I do think the public should, unless you're actual member of that search and rescue team or asked to come in to assist by law enforcement, I do think it's best to stay out of it.
Steve Fisher, thank you
Very,
so much
very
for coming
sad.
on. Appreciate it.
Again, we just watched a segment
Awesome.
from Law and Crime Network about the segment dropped on August 15th. And obviously the situation has changed a lot. I want to welcome everybody into the chat. Thank you so much for coming in. We just had a nice flux come into the channel. Let me do this before I stop for my sponsor. I want to let everybody know, there's been a lot of online stuff going on, and I made good today with a couple of people and reached out to them over the last couple of days. So I want to let everybody know that I have publicly and privately apologized to Nurse Kim, and I've talked to Jimmy, Auntie Deb, and we're good. Everything is good. We chatted today, which was nice, via text message. Jimmy sent me a nice voice note, which was nice, and we're gonna move on. And there was just a lot of miscommunication in the situation, so we're all good. and I'm glad that they accepted my apology. I look forward to their continued growth here on YouTube. I hope their channel, they do well in what they do, and maybe we all come back around at some point. So let me just stop now for our sponsor, and then we'll get back to the arraignment, and then we will hear the press conference from Tom Quinn, Bristol County DA. Let me do this first. See you in a minute. Need a break from modern life? We'll travel back in time to the Star Drive-In. That's East Taunton's iconic retro hotspot. Fun for the whole family. Enjoy great food, entertainment, and timeless memories. They got free community events all season long, including movies under the stars, live music and tailgating, Jeep meets classic car shows and bike nights. While you're there, indulge in over 100 flavors of soft serve, 80 flavors of Bliss and Giffords hard ice cream, plus a rotating selection of 10 flavors of Dole Whip. The Star Drive-In is not your average fast food place. Everything is made fresh to order using quality ingredients. Fresh seafood is delivered daily, and pizza dough made twice a day for maximum freshness. I love their pizza. The Star Drive-In, where food, fun, and family memories never go out of style. They're conveniently located at 205 Myrick Street in East Taunton. That's exit 16 off Route 140. Make sure to visit their website or follow them on Facebook for their latest menus and upcoming events. And hey, while you're there, say hi to Erica and her team. And if you mention LTL at the register, you'll receive 10% off your entire purchase. That's the Star Drive-In in East Taunton. It's the most iconic retro hotspot. Yes, the Star Drive-In. We love Erica and the Star Drive-In and her crew over there. If you show up, please go up to the window and mention LTL, and you get 10% off your order. And if you happen to be in there and you're in line in back of me, I'm going to buy you your dinner or your lunch. So please look out for me at the Star Drive-In. If you can sneak up and you see me in that line, I will buy you a lunch or dinner. All right, let's do this. Let's play the arraignment. Gregory Groom, obviously arrested and arraigned today. Again, I want to thank Nurse Kim for sending over her lovies. Is that what she said? The lovies? Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Gregory Groom arraigned today in Taunton District. Let me just turn the sound up. I'm going to turn the caps on so everybody can read it as well, too, because if it is hard to hear. Here we go.
Gregory Groom.
It's funny because I reached out to the court today. I wanted to get the press pool camera video, but they ended up actually streaming it today, which actually worked out better. So here we go. Excuse me.
Sir, on docket 251816, on or about the date of August 6, 2025, in the town of Rehoboth, been charged with murder, assault and battery on a pregnant victim, aggravated intimidation of a witness, juror, police, or court official, and assault and battery on a family or household member. A not guilty will enter. You have the right to an attorney. Would you like to sign a waiver and represent yourself, retain private counsel, or see whether you qualify for court appointed, sir?
My name is Elliot Levine. I was contacted by CPCS to represent him.
Right. We'll appoint Attorney Levine to represent Mr. Groom. Commonwealth.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jason Mohan for the Commonwealth. Based on the charge of murder, the Commonwealth is asking that Your Honor hold the defendant without bail. This incident stems from the recovery.
So I just want to pull this up. They never mentioned if they were going to charge him with murder for the baby. So probably what's going to happen is they're going to get him on and again, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just speculating here. They're going to get him on the initial charge because Kylie's body was found on his property, ultimately ended up admitting to the stabbing and murdering her and then burying her. They're going to have to probably wait for the autopsy to find out and confirm that she was pregnant. And then he's probably going to be brought back in for a second charge. That's what I'm guessing. And again, I'm not a lawyer, but Adam Teeper Legal's in the room. Maybe he can answer me and say, did I get this correct?
The body last evening. The incident started on August 8th when this defendant, Gregory Groom, contacted the Rehoboth Police Department to indicate that his ex-girlfriend, identified as 18-year-old Kylee Monteiro, was missing. Mr. Groom reported that Ms. Monteiro was at his house, that she was looking for a place to stay. They got into an argument, and that she ultimately left his residence walking down the driveway, and she hadn't been seen or heard from since. Ms. Monteiro was known to be very active on social media, and he hadn't heard from her, neither had her friends or family, on any social media in the following days. When Mr. Groom reported her missing, Rehoboth police responded to the scene and took a report, and then began an investigation. In the upcoming days, when Ms. Monteiro failed to update any of her social media accounts, the police began to continue with their investigation and ultimately brought Mr. Groom in for an interview. Mr. Groom reported that Ms. Monteiro was approximately 11 weeks pregnant, and she told him that he was the father of the baby, that on August 6th, she had left a residential program and took a ride share to his house. She was looking to stay with him, and an argument ensued about whether or not he would allow her to stay on his property. When the police began to question him and other family members, they learned from Ms. Monteiro's sister that on August 6th, when she had arrived at his house, that there was an altercation between Mr. Groom and Ms. Monteiro. Ms. Monteiro texted a sister that he threw me on the ground and pulled my hair and strangled me. My phone is at 4%, and if I die, it was Greg. Family members then tried to communicate with Ms. Monteiro and get her to a place of safety, and she didn't respond right away. Ultimately, there was a response from her device that indicated she was attempting to continue to stay at Mr. Groom's residence. There was a search that was conducted on August 14th of Mr. Groom's property at 107 County Street in Rehoboth, which is approximately a 25-acre property. That search involved members of the State Police CERT team, the Air Wing, divers, cadaver dogs, and nothing of significance was found during that search. However, based on the failure of Ms. Monteiro to contact any friends or family, the police continued their investigation. Ultimately, yesterday on August 19th, Mr. Groom reported to the Rehoboth Police Station for an interview. During that interview, he admitted that on August 6th, he had gotten into an altercation with Ms. Monteiro where he pushed her, she fell backwards, and she...
Yeah, this is as loud as I got. It's the problem is, and I know people asking to boost the audio. It's the problem with the microphone in the court. It's literally as loud as I can get it. And unfortunately, StreamYard doesn't translate the audio very well to the viewer, which is just sucks. But you're gonna have to try to turn your stuff up as loud, as loud as you can. I'll do my best here, but let's keep playing through this.
Hit her head. When she attempted to contact an individual, Mr. Groom admitted that he knocked her cell phone out of her hand, at which time he was going to be charged with the 3 offenses for assault and battery on domestic assault and battery on a pregnant person, and for intimidation of a witness. When investigators continued to press Mr. Groom on the whereabouts of Ms. Monteiro, they informed him that they had applied for and were granted a search warrant for an extensive search of 107 County Street. That included not only cadaver dogs, but excavators, chemists from the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, and other investigators. And they informed Mr. Groom that they were prepared to search the property and dig if necessary. Mr. Groom then paused. He was given an opportunity to tell the police where Ms. Monteiro's body was located, either by being taken to his property and pointing it out, or drawing a map, or telling the officers where her body was located, as they believed Ms. Monteiro was dead. Mr. Groom ultimately drew a rudimentary map indicating that he got into an argument behind a shed on the property where he was known to stay and where Ms. Monteiro stayed. That during that altercation, Mr. Groom admitted that he stabbed Ms. Monteiro twice in the neck and once in the chest. The stab wound to the chest actually broke the blade of the knife off. He used a kitchen knife to commit the stabbing, and based on that stabbing, Ms. Monteiro was deceased. Mr. Groom indicated to police that he then spent several hours digging a hole in the woods, approximately 20 yards from where he killed Ms. Monteiro, and through the night after he dug, when the sun came up, he then pushed her body into the hole and covered it up. He drew on the map the approximate location of Ms. Monteiro's remains. Officers who were conducting the search warrant then went to the shed. They noticed there was a large pile of brush right next to the shed. That was what Mr. Groom used to cover up the site of the murder, to cover up blood that was ultimately recovered, and physical evidence was recovered from the scene where the police alleged the stabbing occurred. About 20 yards away in the woods, there was another large pile of brush with feet upon feet of trees, cut down trees that were piled up. Underneath that pile, the police located a rectangular hole that appeared that had been recently disturbed dirt. When the police ultimately called in medical examiners to uncover that hole, a body consistent with Kylee Monteiro was discovered approximately 5 feet underground. Ms. Montero's remains were recovered last evening, and her body is at the office of the chief medical examiner undergoing identification process and undergoing an autopsy. Based on this case, the defendant's confession and the prior domestic, the Commonwealth asked this court to hold the defendant without bail.
So be,
No argument, Your Honor.
kind of be held without bail.
And any date that is convenient for counsel for a probable cause hearing.
About 30 days out.
Sure, whatever date works for you.
About September September 9th.
That's fine. Probably fast.
Oh, can we do the 10th instead, Your Honor?
Whatever day works for you.
Thank you.
Looks like September 10th.
September 10th, probable cause, courtroom 3, defendant is held without bail.
Thank you, Your
Yeah.
Honor. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Have a nice life. Have a nice life. It's just sad. The whole thing is sad. I mean, young lady's murdered. Potentially the baby now, if she is confirmed that she's pregnant, you've lost a baby, and this guy, 22 years old, has lost the rest of his life. So the whole thing is tragic. You know, the friends, the family, both the families are going to suffer this for the rest of their lives. It's awful. The whole thing is awful. All right, let's listen to Tom Quinn. He's the Bristol County DA. This is just after the arraignment today of Gregory Groom. Let me just boost this up for you. All right, here we go.
Good morning. I'd like to thank the Rehoboth Police Department for their collaboration and cooperation in this very serious matter, especially from the beginning of it when the defendant called reporting the victim missing. They truly have been a team partner in this case and assisted significantly in investigation. This investigation has been a significant investigation into the disappearance of Kylee Monteiro. Significant resources have been put into locating her, investigating her disappearance. This includes several units from Massachusetts State Police, the homicide prosecutors assigned to the Bristol County District Attorney's Office, the Mass State Police Search and Rescue Team, their dive team, the Air Wing, Mass State Police Crime Scene Services. I would also like to again thank the Rehoboth Highway Department and the Fire Department for assisting in the search that resulted in the body being discovered last night. As I indicated last night, and as you heard today, waiting final identification of the body of Kylee Monteiro, official identification from the Chief Medical Examiner's Office. But all of the evidence points to the defendant.
That's Flevin.
Point, as you heard in court, having killed her. As I just said, as I met with the family a few minutes ago, certainly it's a very difficult time for them. Extend my sympathies to them and ask them, to be patient with the process despite the trauma that they are experiencing now. You've heard the evidence outlined in court. Investigation will continue. We look forward to prosecuting this case in Superior Court.
Yeah, can you talk about any potential motive that, or is it still too early?
It's still too early, and the initial charge that was brought yesterday that you were notified was a domestic altercation in which the defendant has been charged. with a separate incident that was one step in leading us towards, focusing on him as a suspect in this case.
At what point did it become clear that this was shifting from a missing person to a recovery of a body?
Oh, I mean, I would speak generally. I mean, this is not a simple matter to look into. I mean, the first step is he reports her missing. So that may arouse some reaction from investigators, and from there, various evidence is followed up. As you heard inside, he spoke to the police several times, including yesterday.
It's strange how this all works because he's charged, obviously charged with a murder. He confesses during the actual interview, but then goes into court and pleads not guilty. So you're gonna have to play this out in a trial. Really, it's crazy.
At which point he was being charged with a domestic assault that occurred on or about August 6th, as you heard the prosecutor say, reported by her sister, the victim's recitation of what occurred. And then yesterday, in which he was charged with a domestic incident, and the charges were upgraded to murder after the body was located.
How important, what critical was that text message that Kylee sent to us?
Well, I mean, any evidence that is uncovered has its own independent significance. And I'm not going to get into the particulars here. This is in the beginning stages, but you heard the prosecutor outline what happened. But when an investigation focuses on a particular person, there's a basis for
Good
that,
point,
and
Mike.
that is various pieces of evidence. So he's been charged based on all the evidence that we have uncovered and or discovered during the investigation, and we'll go. The prosecution will go on from here. I wouldn't get into his background at this point.
Ah,
Well, again, I told you the resources that came in. The application for the search warrant, as submitted by detectives assigned to my office, was significant. It contains a lot of information. Again, people want to move as quickly as they can, especially myself and various law enforcement agencies, but these investigations take some time and perseverance, and through the hard effort of all the investigators, again, Chief DeMarco is here from Rehoboth. I want to acknowledge their efforts, especially from the beginning, sensing something may not be right with this call. Not every missing person call is taken.
I'm just going to pause this real quick, and I want to answer this. Dragonfly says they may say he confessed without a lawyer too. I have notes that say in a subsequent interview under pressure, Groom admitted to the August 6th altercation and revealed that he had stabbed Kylee multiple times, twice in the neck, once in the chest, breaking the knife blade, which is awful. It's terrible, behind the shed on his property. Then he drew a rudimentary wrap leading to where he buried her body approximately 20 yards away. So it looked like there wasn't a lawyer present. They basically pressured him enough in that interview and got it out of him. Such a just crazy case. It's just tragic. All right, here we go.
Let's just say they're taken in different ways sometimes. They took this matter seriously, and
Thank you,
I think
Ginny.
that started the investigation in the
Me too.
direction that eventually led to the defendant, and he stands before the court today charged with murder.
People were really invested. Tried getting updates from local police, so did the public. Why was there nothing throughout the week?
Well, again, respectfully, what updates do you want? I mean, investigations aren't conducted in public. Within reason, people want to be informative, but what information should you be giving other than a periodic update? We're working on the case. There were significant resources brought to bear during the past 10 to 12 days of this case that culminated in his arrest. So unfortunately, it seems in today's world, everybody wants to know what's going on in a sort of as it happens. That's not the way investigations work. Again, there is a need to know some information, but they aren't discussed in public. That's not the professional way to handle these cases. So you got information last night as to the initial charge that was upgraded to murder, and we're going to proceed with the case through the court system now. Thank you very much.
That's it. That is it. That is it. So that's up to the last bit of information that we have on this case, and it's absolutely tragic. I mean, like I said, it's so many lives that are just lost and ruined, and I hate to hear these things. But I just want to let everybody know a couple of things before we wrap up tonight. Again, I want to appreciate everybody for popping in. The Nurse Kim raid, I appreciate that. And thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. So a vigil is going to be organized by the community to honor Kylee on Saturday, August 3rd. If you want to take part, it's at 7 p.m. at the Veterans Memorial Gazebo on 401 Winthrop Street in Rehoboth. I'm going to make an appearance over there. I'm going to stop by. So I will be there on Saturday. And I hope that if you're in and around that area, you live in and around that area, please stop by and support Kylee's friends, family, and community. Also, you can do this as well, too. I have a GoFundMe for Kylee. I'm going to pull that up on the screen. If you want to make a contribution to her family, you can do that. Let me drop the link. I think this link is too long. Let me get a different link for you because I shared it earlier, and the one I shared earlier, it's a smaller link that I can post in the chat. Let's see. I got one here. Let me just copy and paste this in the chat. Actually, I have it pinned at the top of the chat too. But if you want to donate, you can and help them out. So the about $8,800 right now, with a goal of $14,000. And again, I'm sure the family will appreciate the donation. So please support if you can. They really need it right now, and I'm going to make an appearance on Saturday. So that's going to be it. Short show tonight. Wanted to just get back, and this was important to update everybody and just give some information as to what was going on up to the current present nature of this case. So really nice to see everybody here. Thank you for popping in. I just texted Nurse Kim and said thank you. And like I said, if you're just jumping in and you're here, I made some apologies today. Over the last couple of days, I reached out to Nurse Kim and Jimmy, Auntie Deb, and we're good and clear. And they've accepted my apology, and we're going to move forward. So I hope, again, their channels do great. I hope that we can possibly, hook up down the road. Who knows? If not, it's the best of luck to both of them, and keep putting out great content. So thank you again, everybody. If you're just jumping in, watch this on replay. It takes you kind of through an exact timeline of what happened in Kylee Monteiro's case. Super, super tragic. And it just, it's awful. It's really, really awful. So everybody have a great night. I will be back soon. I appreciate all of you, and go out and check out all of your respected YouTube shows now. Talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye.